Hey guys, and welcome back to Marvel Avengers. Today we're going to discuss a little bit of the patch notes that have been released for the PC version, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One for the game. Earlier today, Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix basically put out a list of their current patches that they were trying to fix with a nice little letter from the dev team, basically explaining that they are trying to explore all avenues and approaches to collecting community feedback on specific issues that need to be addressed in the game. Now, the current patch notes aren't that great in terms of some of the overall things that are currently, killing the game, specifically matchmaking. So if you're looking for something that was going to improve that inside the game, you're probably going to be a little bit disappointed, and I don't disagree with you, especially considering that that's probably one of the biggest issues that needs to be addressed. But the good news is that they do intend to release another patch sometime later this week that should address those. The major fix for the game currently that they have is addressing the crashes. So apparently they have a bug that they're having called device hung, and that bug is what's causing the game to crash for some users. If you haven't experienced this bug, be plenty thankful. I've been in the middle of some matches, and especially like vault missions or hive missions, and literally had the game totally take a huge dip and a crush on me, and then just literally crash in the middle of that. This really sucks because there is no matchmaking that allows you to re-enter the game in any way, shape, or form. So it can be quite annoying. So hopefully, if you haven't experienced it, you're not once experienced it. I have noticed that this does not seem to discriminate whether you're a 1080 Ti, a 2080 Ti. It seems to be affecting everybody. So it does, point to one of the main issues and concerns that PC players typically have with games that are also released on consoles, whether or not this game was optimized for PC in the first place. I mean, like I've said to you guys in previous videos, I've seen the game spike really, really high in areas, and it's generally very underwhelming when it does happen. Next thing that they fixed was we were having issues with outfits and whether they were locking and whether they were unlocking from comic cards. This issue has been addressed, and so hopefully that is fixed. But if you were like me, I'd probably wait. So for instance, I've got a ton of patterns from missions for the fabricator. I've yet to do any of those, and I've held on to probably 15 of them simply because I don't trust the system, and I don't want to lose items that I've earned in the game. So I mean, eventually I will do them, but for now it's something that I don't trust. So it's up to you whether or not you do that. Basically, try not to preview items if you're looking at it. It could end up having some bugs in the game. The next thing that they had was players falling out of the maps. Now, I've had this happen to my character once, just once, and that was during the campaign story. Was it a big issue? Not necessarily. I was able to log back out and log back in, and it seemed fine. Although the other day I was playing a vault mission, and my AI, Tony Stark, he got kicked way out the map, and I had no clue where he was. It was rather funny. Yeah, it just was there. So those are all the patch notes for the PC player. So you should see patch notes for patch version 1.0 build 12.11 available to you as soon as you log in today at some point if you haven't already. For the PlayStation players, it's pretty much the same thing. PlayStation players, the one thing that they were experiencing that PC players haven't seemed to play, and if you don't know, I can play the game on PS4 as well, is that they were experiencing what do you call it? Infinite loading screens. Basically, the game has a few loading screens, and they try to cleverly hide them, but they're so damn long that it doesn't really cleverly hide anything. One of these is basically when the game is when you take any elevators, those are just clever loading screens. And then the the loading screens, like say like you get killed and you have to come back, and you know it showcases you the Avengers CGs or the 3Ds of the Avengers characters. That was the screen. Like I was playing on PS4 and it got really annoying. Those screens were taking anywhere from like 2 to 4 minutes. And I guess some players were getting infinite loading screens, and it was corrupting their save files for their characters, which I could imagine would be annoying as hell. It's not something I would enjoy. So apparently that's been fixed. The same thing with the player uniforms and collection pieces. Those supposedly have been fixed as well. We'll end up having to see. Like I said, there's been a lot of bugs in this game, so it's going to be hard to tell and see how often these bugs are reappearing and whether or not Crystal Dynamics actually has fixed them. But it'll be interesting to see. They also had an issue where they were loading on the helicarrier, however, and the helicarrier, they were falling through the game world. I don't think I've ever fallen through the game world on the helicarrier. The one place I did notice it was in the first campaign mission, which was odd, but I was able to just log out, like I said, and come back in. So apparently that's fixed for characters infinitely falling. They've also had their whatchamacalls fixed, their costumes, and then their challenge cards fixed as well. The updated community challenge list, that says that it's supposed to have been fixed. I just looked at the community, the weekly challenge for the community, and I mean it's tracking in the background, so I don't really care, to be perfectly honest with you, how it's doing. As long as it's actually tracking and we're getting the rewards, totally fine by me. But apparently, players have a problem with this, and they want the real tracking of it. So we'll see how that works out. I looked at the PC version, and it still appears the same way it was last week. I can't see a tracking bar at all in any shape, form, or way. So maybe that's going to change, and we'll see. But I highly doubt it. And then lastly, for the Xbox, they have supposedly worked out the issue with achievements not appearing. Do people really still care about achievements? Like, is that a thing in 2020? People are still Chivo whores? I had no clue about this, but apparently it is. So I take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, apparently it still is. So Chivo whores are out there. There are a list of known workaround issues and things like that you have, and to be honest with you, I've never quite liked known workaround issues. They always seem to say things are infrequent, not behaving as they should or whatever, but they're not those things. And they kind of put the onus on the players and not the system itself, and I always get frustrated looking at known issues and workarounds in that regard. The last thing I want to point out is I'm trying to figure out whether this is a bug or not, and maybe the community could help me. I would really appreciate it. But let's take a look real quick at gear. So apparently there are everyone should know by now there are exotic major artifacts in the game, and you get these for completing story missions inside the campaign missions and the Avengers Initiative campaign missions. But you can also have exotic gear drops inside the game. So for instance, we can see that this gear piece right here is called the Grip of a Thunderer. There are no other items like this. Like, I have not had another Grip of a Thunderer in the game. So, but it's not listed as an exotic piece. Most likely maybe because it just doesn't have, it only has 2 perks, but those are really good 2 perks. But it's listed as legendary. I have seen another Grip of a Thunderer that was exotic, however. And then the biggest one that I'm really interested in is Breastplate of the Allfather. The Breastplate of the Allfather I picked up as a legendary item, and you can see it has a number of skills that are specifically named Odin's Force Recovery, Odin's Redemption, and Odin's Augur, and these are skills that I have not seen on any other items. So for instance, I saved a few items inside here, and you can see kind of the look and feel of the naming of them, and they kind of all follow this naming convention, where it's like the reactive buff breastplate, the reflexive invulnerability breastplate, the nimble buff breastplate, and you know, like nimble pulse breastplate. The items that you collect in the game will typically fall underneath those that kind of naming convention, and it's just so you know it's kind of standard fare gear. Even with the grips, you can see it's like a depth buff grip, a depth invulnerability grip. But these items that say grip of a thunderer and breastplate of the Allfather, they kind of look very different in terms of name. I have yet to find another item in game, for instance, that says, you know, breastplate of the Allfather. So I have yet to pick another chest piece up that says, you know, it's the breastplate of the Allfather. I've yet to pick up another hammer that says it's the grip of the Thunderer. So I'm interested to know, what items have you guys got inside of the game so far that have been exotic or legendary, or legendary exotic, like that cross in between. Like, I'm wondering if there's like a class in here for that, whatever. And I'm really interested to know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that the patch comes to you and that it does fix these crashes. That's my main concern, and hopefully in the week to come we get this next patch that they are planning for us, and it will fix so much more. Until next time, guys, I've been a Dark Side. Peace.